After 24 rounds, it's Lando Norris who takes his first World Championship in 2025.
The teammate dynamic is so interesting. You and Lando, went toe-to-toe for the title last year. How different does that relationship become when you both know, okay, one of us is now going to win the world title?
In all honesty, I don't think it really changed.
Really? I just thought
I don't think anyone really believes or struggles to believe. I think it's very much down to how we are as people. I think we're both quite good at, separating the people and what happens on the racetrack versus off the racetrack. We get asked about our relationship as teammates quite a lot. And I think probably it was actually better, at the back end of last year than it was, say the first 6 months that we were getting to know each other, just because we know each other more and, we spend so much time around one another every year. So it really didn't change much. We both knew the situation we were in of trying to beat each other, and only one of us could win. We knew all of that. It never got nasty. And I think that's a really important thing, because I think it would have been very easy for last year to have got nasty. And, if it really got bad, the question of whether one of us was even sat here doing this interview wearing orange. But I think, just the team dynamics is so important to protect going forwards. And, obviously we've not quite started this year the way we want, but it would have been so easy for the battle of last year to make it look 10 times worse, and 10 times worse for a long time. So I think we both knew that as well.
Yeah. And you should be proud actually of the fact that you both went through that pressure cooker.
Yeah.
And you're both here and you're okay with each other. I think that's it's not easy for that.
We obviously had a couple times where we came together. I think in kind of title battles, especially between teammates that have kind of turned sour, there's normally been some element of games or trying to hide stuff or something like that. And I think for both of us, we're just not really like that. But also we know, we've seen that play out as well. And, I think it doesn't take much to get into that sequence of, I'm going to do this. And then the teammate goes, oh, well, okay, I know you did that, so I'm going to do this. And then it just escalates. And I think, for both of us, even if we did have problems, I think they were never intentional. And, even if we felt like we'd crossed the line, either we were, good. We never had to confront each other, but I think we both kind of knew if we'd crossed the line ourselves and went, my bad. And the team held us accountable for that as well. So I think we had a good system to keep things friendly.
And are you the kind of guy that will share everything with a teammate and want them to know everything, or are you more protective of your insight?
Generally, yes.
Yeah.
And, I think it's the way of just modern teams anyway, especially at McLaren, that's the way it's going to be, whether I want it to be or not.
Yeah.
And, I think it is a very good way of going about things, because, it goes in a circle, right? There's of course, if you find something special that you think that no one else has found, you're going to want to try and keep that to yourself. But we've got hundreds of people working in our team. Other teams have got the same. We've got onboards, GPS,
there's no secrets.
You can't hide. And again, it goes the opposite way as well. If you're in that position where someone else has done something and you go, I need to work out how to do that, you want as many tools at your disposal as you can get. So yeah, I think everyone probably has their little moments where they go, okay, I want to keep that one to myself. But at the end of the day, if you start going down that route, eventually it'll bite you when you probably least want it. At certain points last year, finishing second was almost kind of the worst place I could finish, because I got beaten by my teammate probably, and our car was a lot better than everyone else's on certain weekends, and I didn't do a good enough job basically. So when finishing second feels like a bad weekend, it's tough it's tough and important to kind of look at it in a more holistic way and go, okay, yeah, it wasn't a good weekend or whatever in the grand scheme of things, but I still just finished second in an F1 race, thinking I probably didn't do as good of a job as I should have or I could have. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, and it's, you've got to be careful to not get carried away either.
And what's the secret to that? Because I remember watching, thinking, I wonder whether even after 4 or 5 races, whether you were thinking, I think I might win the world title this year, and how dangerous it is for your brain to go there, which is the most natural human thing in the world, isn't it?
I think there was definitely thoughts of, I don't think there was ever really the thoughts of, I'm going to win the world championship, or if there were, I was very quick to go, calm yourself down, because there's a long way to go. But again, like after Melbourne, I knew within myself that it was within my power to win the world championship. I didn't necessarily think or, I wasn't certain it was going to happen, but I knew that if, and it's a big if you did a good enough job and if certain things go the right way, then it can happen. So I think that was more the belief. And again, there's a good quote from Niki Lauda that I saw this morning, actually, from the Loris Awards, where he dedicated his award to the losers, and saying that he always learned so much more in losing than in winning, which I think is true. And it's very, very hard to find, when you lose a race because of a mistake or because of something you did badly, it stares at you in the face pretty obviously. But if you've won a race and there was things that didn't go that well, you've got to look a bit harder to go, okay, this still wasn't great, this wasn't great. And, Miami for me last year was a perfect example.
This episode of High Performance is brought to you by Bulldog Skincare. On this show, we focus a lot on the strive to achieve greatness. And one thing that comes up time and time again during those conversations is the importance of doing the right things every day. It's not about those moments that everyone sees. It's about the small things. And Bulldog Skincare know this all too well, which is why they make quality skincare products for men, combining brilliant natural origin ingredients with carefully selected man-made ingredients designed to help you look and feel your best. From training to the trials of everyday life, Bulldog Skincare are supporting everyday skin endurance. In fact, Bulldog are so committed to helping men with their everyday endurance, they're proud to be the official men's skincare partner of Ironman Europe. Bulldog products, from moisturizers to shower gels, are all about helping you prepare, protect, and recover skin from whatever life throws at you, whether you're pushing yourself to the limit in an Ironman competition or just managing the day-to-day. Bulldog Skincare supports your everyday endurance. Find Bulldog Skincare in major retailers and online. Bulldog Skincare understands men.
Where I won the race, but I started 4th. I went into the race going, there's no way I'm going to win this thing, starting from 4th. A few things went my way. Our car was incredibly quick in Miami. And I knew that I'd done a good job of kind of the circumstances I got dealt with in the race and was able to win. But I knew that if I could do that once or twice or 3 times in the year out of 24 races and maybe get away with it. But I could not win a championship based on weekends like that.
In what respect?
I didn't do a good enough job before that. I think in the race I did a good job, but
people would look at that and go, well, you won the race. What do you mean you didn't do a good enough job? Like, what does winning a race and not doing a good enough job actually look like to you?
I think in that one specifically, mainly qualifying. Qualifying is such a big part of Formula One that in 95% of the races, I would say, starting 4th, you're not going to win the race. Especially when you've got a competitive teammate alongside you, and Lando was starting ahead of me. There was races last year where I think we both pretty much knew that whoever was leading at the end of the first lap out of us two, it was more than likely going to stay that way. So that's a really important part. And I knew that I hadn't done a good job in qualifying, and that if I was qualifying 4th every weekend, again, I could do that once or twice and have a bit of action go on and take advantage of it. But I couldn't rely on that, basically. And the next weekend I tried to improve my qualifying, and the rest of the year tried to do the same, and that sets up your race. And yeah, just trying to make life as easy as possible for yourself. That was the biggest thing.